Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another episode of Raw Talk. We're going to jump straight into it with these goddamn lockdown things that they do. This whole coronavirus thing is driving everybody mad, but some good news has come through apparently.
Border with Victoria will reopen from midnight tonight.
Excellent. So the border's going to open from Victoria to New South Wales. Cheers to that, because I need to get across that freaking border.
Caught another day of zero
coronavirus infections.
15 Victorians will be able to gather indoors in people's homes.
15
and up
people
to 50
in a row.
out.
Here's the man
Masks
himself.
will be required inside.
Inside my house or just inside the supermarket?
You will need to wear the mask outside if you can't distance. So to give you perhaps
an example,
fairly common sense example, but if you're queuing up for a sausage...
What did you just say?
For a sausage.
If you're queuing up for a sausage at Bunnings, because that's all anyone ever fucking does apparently, is queue up for sausages and goes to Bunnings. I don't mean to be a smart ass, but I've had enough.
They can return to the office, so that's...
that's good. People can go back to work. I'm sure they're happy about that.
One per 4 square metres.
What? 1 per 4 square meters. Oh, it's just getting too complicated. You've got to be a mathematician to be able to keep up with all this stuff. Is this political? Is this a conspiracy? I'm joking. It's okay. Don't come at me. Let's move on. Raw Talk. See that there? Raw Cuts. Going to be a cooking channel. I've already got one video up here already. I went round the block and I went and discovered all these different foods on the side of the road. And then I ran into this lady here and she had a little garden in her front yard. Hooked me up with some cucumbers.
Interesting little project, you know.
Shane, have a lovely day. She's a lovely lady. People sharing their food. Seems silly to have concrete on the front yard, and why not grow fruit and vegetables?
Well, that's very true. So I got a heap of food and then I went home and this is all the food that I collected, which was pretty amazing. I'd only been around the block for maybe an hour or two. And then I put together like a salad. I'm actually working on a heap of new videos at the moment on how to cook different things. And throughout the season of these cooking shows, I'm going to be bringing in chefs and some cooks. And I feel like it can be really inclusive by bringing people in to come up with different menus and to come up with different ideas on things to cook. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to go subscribe to that, head over to Raw Cuts, one word, on YouTube. Otherwise, just check out the link in the description or go to rawv.com. That's where you find all the channels. Raw Talk. What's Elon up to? So basically, Elon is here talking about creating a base frontier where people can live on Mars.
The acid test really is, if the ships from Earth stop coming for any reason, does the city on Mars die out? If it does, we're not in a secure place.
So he's basically saying, like, you've got to be able to be taking stuff to Mars all the time from Earth to be able to start, I guess, terraforming Mars and making it into a livable colony. And so if the ships stop coming, you're basically stranded there. And hopefully maybe you can start being able to utilize the materials from Mars and be able to live on Mars and grow stuff on Mars and therefore be able to exist beyond having to rely on bringing things from Earth.
Are we going to create a self-sustaining city on Mars before or after World War III? Hopefully there's never a World War III, but of after is low.
Scary kind of train of thought. If a World War III did break out, that's going to minimize the amount of resources and necessity to be able to build something like rocket ships that can go to Mars and then return. If people are going to destroy this planet anyway, which they already are, the more people that go to Mars and get off the planet and start colonizing other planets, I think the better. We really need to be an intergalactic species. Raw Talk. So this is the crew mission docking station up in space. SpaceX and NASA are targeting Sunday for the Falcon 9's launch of the Dragon's first operational crew mission into the space station. Wow, so it's all autonomous. So the robots are doing most of this work. Imagine just being in that driver's seat. I love this. That's a baby Yoda doll just floating. Look at the technology they got now in comparison to what they would have had like 30, 40 years ago. A 8-bit Game Boy had more power than what they used on those first trips to the moon. That's amazing. All right, moving on. Mike Tyson has come out of retirement and he is fighting Roy Jones Jr. Now, I don't know too much about Roy Jones Jr., but he is also a major player in the boxing world. Mike Tyson, I think, is 56, and I think Roy Jones Jr. is about 53.
Two of the greatest athletes of all time.
A whole different person back then. I have the desire to do this now. That guy that was in Washington, D.C., he was just a ghost of me.
If you follow of Mike Tyson's career over the past 15 years, he has gone through transformations. He used to be quite violent back in the day, obviously because he was a boxer and he's bred that way. And he's become out the other side as a very peaceful person. If you watch a lot of his interviews, you'll see that he completely changed. He always talks about this drug that he took, which is the toad. I'm assuming it's an actual toad, you lick or something. And he said that when he took it, he basically saw his whole life go before his eyes, and he said it took away his ego. And so he's been on this quest for many years now to really rid himself of his ego. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing. If you can come that far as one of the greatest champions of boxing in the world, to change your attitude to be something more altruistic attitude, I think that's a pretty cool way to go.
He inspires me just by how hard he's working and how much he's preparing to get back in the ring. And he's 3 years older than me.
Throughout the whole thing, they're just constantly complimenting each other. Now, if you've seen any other boxing promotion, when they're talking to each other, it's all about getting in each other's heads, trying to psych out the other player by saying, you know, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I'm the one that's going to win here. You got no freaking chance. Getting in each other's head by giving each other compliments.
We do this and I'm going to help a lot of people. My legend is going to be that I gave a lot more than I took.
Like, I want Mike Tyson to win, and at the same time, I don't think it matters really who wins, because I think Mike is going to donate all his money, and I think that is going to be the winning thing no matter what. Raw talk! Peter Joseph made a film many, many years ago called Zeitgeist. You could call it like cross between documentary, conspiracy theory. He wrote it and made it as a art piece that was going to be performed on stage while he played live music to it, and it just had a video. Anyway, he ended up uploading it to the internet and it became viral. Millions and millions and millions of people watched it. Throughout this first series, he talks about the personification of Jesus and how basically Jesus is the personification of the sun in the sky, and how the 12 disciples in the Bible are basically the 12 signs of the zodiac. Goes into many different correlations between how many different gods there are and how they all have the same attributes as Jesus. And the whole point being that basically saying that the Bible is like a Dreamtime story that's been written, thousands of years ago, but it's based off the movements of the sun and the way the earth moves and all that kind of stuff. Throughout this film, it goes into the 9/11 conspiracy and what happened on that day, and whether the attacks were preempted or whether coincidental and strange occurrences that happened around that time. Towards the end of it, it goes into the monetary system, how the monetary system was started, and you can go and watch this film now. It's called Zeitgeist the Movie. If you go to zeitgeistmovie.com, you'll be able to find it there. There's 3 films in the series. There's Zeitgeist Movie, there's Zeitgeist Addendum, and there's Zeitgeist Moving Forward. And he's recently made a film called Interreflections Movie, which is a masterpiece. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I have 5 other channels. If you want to subscribe to any of them, if you haven't already, go to rawv.com. The link is in the description of this video. So much work I'm doing at the moment. Until next time, keep rockin', keep a rollin', rock.